You know, it's interesting. You can invent as many scary things as you want, but there's nothing to us more primal than facing your own mortality, than life and death stakes. And this true story of Tammy Ashcraft and Richard Sharp sailing into a hurricane, it's a real life nightmare scenario that you can't imagine. And it's hard even for us, having invested 5 years into the process of meeting Tammy, learning her story, developing the script, producing the film, to try to get close to what that experience is, to capture authentically. And you have to be in it, and hopefully the movie will take audiences to that place that Tammy and Richard lived, that Shailene and Sam portray in the most epic and incredibly accurate fashion, and give you the feeling of that, because it's something I think we can relate to. Is what would you do in that scenario, which is a real one. And so,
yeah, it's all tough. I mean, in this case, it's for us. We took more of our background in journalism and took more of a journalistic approach to try to make it as authentic and accurate to the experience that Tammy herself had, so that the audience in the theater, when you're watching the movie, you feel like you're on that boat with them, and you feel like the experience she had as falling in love. And like when you're falling in love, it often feels like life and death stakes. And to be falling in love in actual life and death stakes scenarios, it's such a heightened experience that few people get. And to be on that boat with them, I think, is the writing that was the challenge.
As writers and filmmakers, you're lucky in that the true story is so incredible. We don't have to invent. The facts are so amazing. And so the goal, as Aaron just said, and the challenge is to tell the story with as much integrity and accuracy and honesty as we can.
And we had the benefit of having Tammy herself, who is an incredible, the real life Tammy, woman and collaborator, and she wrote an amazing book about her experience. And so we had got to work with her for 5 years and interview her and have her be part of the writing and part of the filmmaking and have her there on set. And all of that really helped add authenticity to the experience.
I mean, the making of the film was practical as much as possible. Baltasar, Kormakur behind us, you can probably see now. He's our Viking director, and he wanted to film as much on the water as he could. So filmmaking-wise, it's a feat. Jaws, you think of these movies that went out on the water, and they are 10 on the challenge level, but it really, we hope, translates into what you see, makes you feel part of that visceral, real experience, because that's the goal.
Probably there are 3 movies that are really hard that I made: Everest, The Deep, and this one. I thought this one was going to be easy because The Deep was in the North Atlantic, and this was going to be around Fiji in the warm seas. But I do think this was more difficult. First of all, how many stories of survival stories with women do we have? Almost none. I can't really recall anyone. So it's all been about man and wolves and conquering nature. But the fact is that women have had to endure nature throughout history. And I thought, when I saw that, what an opportunity, to have a great role for a young woman dealing with the elements. And what an example to show to young women, that they don't have to be Wonder Woman, but they can be real women, real Wonder Woman, And I was drawn to that, very strongly drawn to that. And I think for that, and also these are the big seas. It's one of the biggest storms that has hit the Pacific. Can't put that only on TV. We got to put it on the big screen.
Richard.
Well, I loved from the beginning. Shailene was my perfect choice. She has this West Coast kind of girl quality, earthy, not the bubbly gummy, more like the free spirit, not nature loving, and something is really hard to play, but exists in you from being brought up there, And I thought that was very important. Also, I think she's very relatable, and she actually looks quite a bit like the real Tammy, So all these elements came together in her. Apart from, I've been a big fan of her since I saw her in the Alice in the Pain movie with Clooney. It's brilliant, and so that was an easy choice for me, and I was over the moon that she wanted to do it. And the experience with her has been the best. I've had with any actor. But then Sam, of course, the character is English, was important. He's very kind of easygoing and sweet, and has a, and I think Sam has that without being, like, he's not a pussy, like he's a man, but he's like has the sensitiveness and sweetness, and also the generosity to support Shailene and not try to steal the movie or make it hit. And also, I believe they could have very good chemistry. And Shailene was very, loved the idea of doing this with him. And I think that's very important when you're trying to find the chemistry between people. And I love their chemistry on screen.
It was being in the hands of Pierre Morel, who, is famously directed Taken, and so who understands how necessary it is for the drama to be equal to the action. And there was a great script, and he was directing it, and I loved the character, and I'm so glad I got to do it. I think that there are, the stakes are never higher than when your family are involved. And so while I've fought a lot of bad guys in my day, and I've certainly had the stakes high in Sidney Bristow's life or in The Kingdom, or this is kind of the biggest combination of high drama and action that I think I've ever done.
I think it's a new combination for me to do this because it's very real. It's an intense piece of fiction based upon real types of characters, and the woman who my character is based on leads a very interesting life. But I know for these guys it was really exciting to take a departure from telling a true story because it was just an out-and-out action. I say out-and-out action. There's a huge psychological element to the film. What's most appealing with this film is this idea of family. I mean, these 4 people come together and really have become pretty dysfunctional in normal society, but are extremely hyper-functional in this world and are extremely effective. And what they do is very important. And they definitely have a good time doing it. It's the kind of high-risk situation not many people would want to be involved in. But with Alice, my character, she is a mother, and she has a child at home that she's separated from, and I get to explore all those things that are very accessible and normal and relatable, not accessible, but as well as going through these life and death circumstances. So the people in this story just get things done. I mean, we don't stop, we don't analyze, there's no time for really thinking about your emotions too much, and that's what Mark's character is to my character. He shakes her out of stopping to even think how you might feel about something and just getting the job done. And that set against being a parent and having feelings about what kind of parent you should be millions, thousands of miles away from your child it was a great emotional and physical challenge overall.
Well, there are many things. I mean, Pete and I had talked about this idea, but we had made 3 movies that were all based on real events and real tragedies, and this is the first time that we had a little bit of license to kind of just have a little bit of fun, but also it's obviously very serious in tone. But it's a character-driven action movie, and we wanted to do something where instead of making the kind of brooding anti-hero who has very little to say, is proactive and aggressive and pretty unapologetic, and it's just different, and it's cool. Every time I have to go away and leave my family, it's tough and it's hard. So going to Atlanta, going to Colombia, I'm in the mindset of the character. I think I have to still continue to apologize to all of my co-stars, whether it be Ronda or Laura or even Eco, because I'm away from my family. It's difficult, but I'm in the moment, you know. I think everybody thought I was a little too intense, but now I got to see people and hug them and say hi and thank them for their hard work and their support. So,
You know, this is a
well, I think it encompasses a lot of what both of those movies do, but it's still different, you know. It's yeah, again, the character is much more proactive. He's much more vocal. He's much more of an anti-hero. I think, you know, it's going to be interesting to see what audience. And again, I think it's the kind of movie where we don't have to open to record numbers. And in the world of superhero movies, we have a character-driven movie that the story is the most important thing. And then once the action starts, forget about it. So Pete and I have proven, you know, that we can do action really well, whether it be in Lone Survivor, Deepwater Horizon, or Patriots Day. But with this, a character-driven action movie, it's just different. Having something that's really smart and sophisticated in that way, I think, is what audiences are looking for.
This was a role that was several years in the making for me. I just wanted to work with Pete in any way, and we tried with a different script and didn't really work out, and then we tried doing an original script with the original Mile 22, which was originally going to be pretty much like The Raid with me and Eco, and then Pete was just going to produce, and then Mark Wahlberg comes in, and he's like the dress in Sex and the City, you know. It's like the mark up the ante. And so then Pete came in to direct, and they completely redid the whole script, and it was the first time I really got to see the process of a movie being made from conception into execution. And so it was a really big learning opportunity for me, and I think the best thing for me at this point in my career, trying to master a new skill. I think what I brought to the film, well, to Sam, the character, is she is a weapon of a woman, and there's a presence that goes along with that. You know, there's a difference between trying to look like you can kill somebody and knowing that you can. And I know that I can, and I can exude that presence the way that Sam Snow could.
Honestly, you make it sound pretty daunting. It was a really wonderful experience through and through, from top to bottom. We were pretending, obviously, to be in a survival situation. Luckily, we weren't actually in that situation.
A nice hotel room to go home to, so it wasn't fully. We weren't fully invested in that sense. But no, in all honesty, I found the actual sailing aspect quite daunting. We were always supported by an incredible marine team who were literally showing us the ropes. But there were still moments where we were left in charge of a yacht at speed on the open ocean, which, you know, it can be quite terrifying, especially with no sailing experience. But we were really well looked after, and, you know, we shot in Fiji, had a great crew. You know, we ticked every box for a dream job, really.
I think for me it was really like learning patience, like extreme patience, to work with the elements, because we really were at the mercy of Mother Nature and her will, whether it be rain, wind, no wind, when the sails need wind to move, sun. It was a big practice in patience, and I think that was the most challenging yet opportunistic, exciting in its opportunity.
I think the story itself is an inspiration. Like, I think hopefully it should inspire people to kind of keep the faith and remain strong, and that love will always persevere. I feel like, yeah, there is an endless amounts of messages, and I think what's great about this movie is that people will take something different from it. The fact that it's a true story, and the fact that, you know, people live to tell the tale is an exciting reality for us all to kind of bear. So yeah, it's.
I mean, we were in the middle of the ocean outside of Fiji, so while we were actually filming, you know, there was very limited physical correspondence, but I mean, they were incredible. The fact that they trusted a filmmaker and funded a movie to be filmed in a country far away from this one, and also on the open water, is rare. I think I said that on stage. It's a very unique experience to have a studio trust a director enough to be willing to throw millions of dollars into a film based on the merit of their trust and their relationship with him and the script.